In 1975, you started your career. Probably kids wanted to be engineers, doctors, but you were into advertising. So, what was that moment that triggered your mind that this is where I belong?
The time when I joined advertising, he had just about his company, he was thinking of selling his company. In the 60s and early 70s was a force to reckon with. It was a big agency.
How was the condition for you at that point in time that you were actually aspiring to have a career in advertising?
All my classmates joined IIT. Because I didn't get what I desired, it was telecommunication, I said, let's drop it. All my friends have retired as very senior engineers, managing directors of companies. We are still in touch, the old Don Bosco mate. Even in JWT and all where I used to keep Ogilvy, I would say the ratio was 90-10 in the executive cadre.
So, did you prefer a male boss or a female boss?
I remember one of my first bosses was actually a lady. There was another lady I remember very fondly, with whom I can narrate an incident of a great campaign with Zakir Hussain.
नमस्कार दोस्तों, मैं प्रीति हून इंटरव्यू वाली और आज मेरे गेस्ट एडवर्टाइजिंग की दुनिया के दिग्गज हैं. ही इज अ लिविंग लेजेंड. He has completed 50 working years in Indian advertising industry and has become one of the leading professionals who have achieved this feat without taking a break. He has trained and worked for the first lady of advertising in India, Tara Sinha, the first Indian woman who started up her own agency in India in 1990s. तपस के एक्सपीरियंसेस से आपको एडवर्टाइजिंग के बारे में वो सब सीखने और जानने को मिलेगा जो आज तक आप सिर्फ किताबों में शायद पढ़ा करते थे, या फिर वो सब जो किताबों में भी नहीं मिलेगा. आपकी और मेरी तरह इनको भी अपने जॉब करियर पर डाउट्स आए, पर इन्होंने हार ना मानते हुए थ्रेट को अपॉर्चुनिटी में कैसे बदला, हमें आज वो सीखने को मिलेगा. दिस पॉडकास्ट इज इन 5 पार्ट्स, तो कोई भी एपिसोड मिस मत कीजिएगा. ऑल लिंक्स विल बी प्रोवाइडेड इन द डिस्क्रिप्शन. Given Tapas Gupta's fluency in English more than Hindi, this interview is mostly in English. और ये interview iconic होने वाला है. So watch, learn, get inspired and please don't forget to share, like and subscribe this channel. और हाँ, ये मेरा पहला podcast है, तो आप सबकी blessings भी ज़रूर दीजिएगा. Thank you so much and enjoy watching. Tapas Gupta. How are you feeling, sir? This is going to be an iconic interview in my eyes, in my understanding. And I don't think that you have ever done an interview like this before.
No, not really, because this is the first time I'm crossing 50 years in my career.
Yeah.
So I wanted to wait for that moment.
Okay.
And I'm feeling very good that, I'll be able to recount stories which most people of our age will not be able to give you because they haven't worked that kind of, and I'm still continuing to work. That's
Now,
the important.
how is the feeling?
Feeling is very good.
50 years is a long, long time.
Yes, but I still feel as if it was yesterday. My feeling is, you see, the important thing about my life is that I may have played only a role in terms of being a witness to many transformations in this industry. To some of these, I may have humbly contributed to some extent, but most of it, the transformation has happened in front of my eyes. 5 decades is 5 generations. Understand that,
yeah.
if not more. So 5 generations of advertising people I have dealt with. And today, when I started, I dealt with people who are the age of my grandfathers. Today in my organization, I have some people who are still not the age of my grandsons, but they are between my son and my grandson. So that's the beauty of working for such a long time.
In 1975, you started your career.
Yes.
How was that moment when you finally decided to be in advertising? Because it wasn't just another career. At that point in time, it was of course glamorous. Probably kids wanted to be engineers, doctors, but you were into advertising. So what was that moment that triggered your mind that this is where I belong?
You see, my father has been an advertising entrepreneur, and the time when I joined advertising, he had just about his company, he was thinking of selling his company. So he had an agency called Publicity Forum, which in Calcutta in the 60s and early 70s was a force to reckon with. It was a big agency. They were having pretty big brands in those times. And Calcutta, as you know, that time was the hub of advertising.
What?
So it started in the early 50s, went on till about early 70s. Then my father had an heart attack, so he had to pull out and sell it off.
Okay. And how old were you then?
In 75.
Yeah.
75, I was 21.
Okay. So, did you have any support other than your father's income, or any other kind of financial support to back you, or you were the
There was no financial support required for me to get this job. It was strictly by talent and through a bit of network, I must
No,
confess.
so what I mean to ask is that when your father had an heart attack, like you just said, so how was the condition for you at that point in time that you were actually aspiring to have a career in advertising, while at your household the things were not very amicable for you to have a flourishing career at that point in time, maybe because you must have had that kind of pressure from your an emotional pressure, so to say. So how was that situation for you to actually kickstart a career?
I was a pretty good student in Don Bosco school, and all my classmates, most of them, in fact, I had also applied for IIT and I had got IIT Electricals. I wanted telecommunications. All my classmates joined IIT. Because I didn't get what I desired, which was telecommunication, I said, let's drop it.
You dropped IIT.
I dropped IIT.
Oh my god, people will never drop IIT.
I dropped IIT because I had got electricals. I had asked for electricals, was my third choice.
Okay.
Obviously, I didn't do so well that I had.
So you were actually destined to be in advertising.
Yes,
because-
IIT Kharagpur.
Oh my goodness.
IIT Kharagpur I dropped, and all my friends have retired as very senior engineers, managing directors of companies. We are still in touch, the old Don Bosco mates.
Okay.
So I was the only black sheep.
Don Bosco, Calcutta.
Yes, Don Bosco, Calcutta. I was the only black sheep in that sense. And they all tried to persuade me to take electricals, which I got. But I said, no, I'm not interested in electricals. It didn't, didn't capture my
Okay.
imagination. So I said, let's drop it. Then my father obviously had a few friends in the industry.
Okay.
So our condition in those days, my father had retired. He had a heart attack. In those days, there weren't great medical insurances and other things. So it was a troublesome time. So I had to get into a job.
Yes.
So
That's exactly what I wanted
I had to get
know.
into a job, yes. I had to
Yeah.
get into a job at the age of 21.
Did you feel forced?
I was not forced, but I felt hurried. I needed to do it.
Little time to
Yes,
take your
I
time.
didn't have that luxury of 2 years roaming around, seeing what kind of a job I should take.
Right.
There was Clarion at that point of time, Clarion McCann
Yeah.
were hiring management trainees, and they were looking at IIM graduates, or they were looking at or graduates from XLRI. Two institutes, they were doing campus interviews. I was out of about 8 people who were taken in the same batch. I was the only non-MBA, but a decently good student in BSc physics honors. My marks were very good because I had
Okay.
got a chance in IIT. So by some fluke, by some God's grace, I got this job.
But do you think that people who've gone through that kind of hustle in their life to crack IIT will actually just be as successful in advertising because their brain probably function in a different way? Do you think like that?
No, I don't.
Because you need to have that kind of certain creativity, when you are in advertising. While the IITians would be more brainy towards the brainy side of the
You see,
functionality.
it is human intelligence is such that you can channel your human intelligence energies to different ways. I also don't agree with you when you say advertising a person has to be creative. I have been always very analytical.
Okay.
Analytical because I was looking for an engineer's job. If I had taken, I'd probably been in Larsen and Toubro or in Tata Telco or somewhere and retired from there. But I got into
Do
advertising.
you regret that?
In retrospect, no. In retrospect, no, because I did decently well in my life. In fact, my friends all look up to me and say, hey, guy, you're still working. I said, yes, I am still working. So
Okay.
that's the interesting part. I am working by choice, not by compulsion.
And they are all not entrepreneurs. They're all working, like they've retired from their job.
I think one or two would have gone into entrepreneurship in but in that engineering, one of them I know whose company manufactures nuts and bolts. So that's engineering in a factory in Calcutta or close by. They're all from Calcutta,
Okay.
the erstwhile Calcutta, which is now called Kolkata.
Right.
So they were all from that kind of business or jobs. But many of them retired at very senior chairman, deputy chairman, MD levels at public sector companies or at large companies which are engineering led, automotives, heavy industries, etc.
So 1975, Clarion, first moments of your life to enter advertising. Do you remember that?
Yes, I do. In fact, my first interview I remember because I was interviewed over a glass of beer in Calcutta Club.
Yes, I read that.
In Calcutta.
How was that moment?
That moment was a little surprising to me
Okay.
because I thought was an interview, the way in 3 Idiots they interview people. That was my impression of 4 or 5 people sitting and interviewing.
Okay.
Here, my, people like Dilip Sen, who was that time heading Calcutta, there was another Calcutta Clarion, there was another gentleman called Sushen Saha. They said, we met in the office, says, hey, it's lunchtime. Let's go for a beer. They wanted to test me out.
Yeah, correct. Yes.
That test etiquettes. You see, in those days, understand this, Calcutta was the center of British culture, even in the 70s. It was very Brit because the colonial culture hadn't left. So the club culture was very, very sahab. It's not, in advertising.
I get your point. Yes.
People in JWT or in Clarion, the big agencies, Clarion McCann, from 1 to 3, 3:30, you wouldn't find them. You would find them in a club.
So would you say that the Brit culture transformed into advertising at that point in time?
Brit culture was dictating the advertising phenomena in Calcutta those days.
No wonder they are
Yes.
interviewing you in a bar.
Yes, not in a bar, in Calcutta Club, which
Yeah,
is
a
Calcutta's
club.
foremost club. It's like the Gymkhana here.
Yeah, correct.
So, I was interviewed there and they asked me all sorts of questions which had nothing to do in advertising. What was my passion? Why did I need this job? What would I do? And I thought I did a bad interview because I was not used to this. The culture came to me as a surprise.
Yeah.
I have come from a upper middle class family.
Sure.
So the culture didn't shock me, but it was surprised me.
But did you like it?
The first impression was that, oh God, I don't think I'll be able to make it. So, when you get that feeling that you will not be able to make it, that's the time when, your true fight back comes in.
Yeah.
So I replied a lot of questions to them, which in normal situations I would probably been more respectful.
Okay.
But trust you me, they liked that. They liked that. They enjoyed that. Later they told me that you were very cut and dry and at times you were a little arrogant. I said, because I thought I wouldn't get the job. So I said, what's the use of, being, what shall I say, subservient or being polite and nice.
So would this tapas after 50 years would like to give an advice to that tapas who was starting off and probably do that interview in a better way? Would this tapas give that tapas some kind of an advice?
If I gave that tapas the advice today, that tapas would not have got the job. Because I was courageous, which people in interviews don't usually have. Because I was replying a little offbeat because I thought I didn't get the job. While sipping, and it was a longish interview, more of fun and games and cricket and all these things, drinking in a bar, in the bar of Calcutta Club. So, after 1 or 2 beers, you tend to be a little more courageous.
So you spent 10 years in Clarion.
I spent 10 years in Clarion, yes.
Which was that
11.
moment during those years that you felt that you have arrived at the right place?
You see, for me, this feeling of arrived has not even arrived today.
Okay.
Because I still think I can still do a lot.
So what I mean to ask you by that is that you felt that you were at the right place. That moment, did it occur to you?
You see, first 2 years I had a very torrential time, very difficult time, because Clarion was a very, very tough agency. It was like a school. It was like a very good convent school. And I was used to the Don Bosco culture, which was very strict Catholic culture.
Right.
Clarion was those days run by that kind of culture.
And you were in a all-boys school?
I was in an all-boys school.
And advertising must be like some kind of exposure.
No, in those
you?
days, they were, the ratio was 90 to 10. 90 men, 10 women.
Okay. So advertising, like you said, you had a cultural shock. Was it also like getting exposed to a lot of women in that kind of setup where they
in the early times, there weren't too many women.
Okay.
There weren't too many women, at least in Clarion McCann those days. Even in JWT and all, where I used to keep Ogilvy, I would say the ratio was 90 to 10 in the executive cadre.
Okay.
In the management trainee cadre. In fact, 8 of us who were selected on the same batch, all of us were boys. So I remember one of my first bosses was actually a lady.
Yeah.
She was a very well-known, not Tara Sinha.
Oh, okay.
Shobha Subramanian.
We'll come to Tara Sinha also.
Shobha Radhakrishna. Shobha was an outstandingly bright woman, and she still is. We are in touch. Shobha is married to a friend of mine also, Suresh. I mean, they married, of course, in those days. They were working together. She was one of my first boss on Nestle. And
I see.
And Shobha, actually, she was a far better boss than my men bosses. In my early days in Clarion, there was another lady I remember very fondly, with whom I can narrate an incident of a great campaign with Zakir Hussain. She was called Saida Imam, very well-known advertising creative person.
So did you prefer a male boss or a female boss?
Well, I didn't have a choice. I mean, a lot, but fortunately or unfortunately, a lot of my time in life, till I was working, I think female bosses have been far, because Tara Sinha was my longest boss.
Yes.
15 years.
So that's something which is iconic, and I think...
Or 20 years. Tara Sinha was 20 years.
Yeah.
85 to 2005 when she retired.
Yeah.
That's a very long period to have a woman boss. And I will tell you her character, because a lot of writings of mine are on her.
So before you tell me about her, I would like to tell the viewers that Tara Sinha is the first female solo entrepreneur in advertising in India. In 1985, she did her Tara Sinha Associates, but before that she was with Clarion. And
before that, she was also one of the founders of Clarion McCann, along with Satyajit Ray, the famous film director, Subrata Sen Gupta, and Tara Sinha. They founded Clarion.
Correct.
From a Brit agency called DJ Kimmer. They broke away and founded that agency. So she was one of the founders.
She was actually a serial entrepreneur in that sense.
She is a serial entrepreneur in that sense.
Wow, and that too in 1980.
She inspired me a lot, because her entrepreneurship, I've been the closest observant to that, because I've been also an entrepreneur, not from when I started BI Confluent. My first entrepreneurship job was in Tara Sinha Associates in 1985 when I broke away from Clarion.
Yeah. So who inspired you more? Your father as an entrepreneur in advertising, or Tara Sinha as an entrepreneur in advertising?
You see, my father, I have seen my young days, very young days in my school and college. He was a role model to me. And that also had given me the feeling that it's such a great profession, because he used to come back happy. He was a very happy man. He used to come back happy, narrate his stories. So that inspired me a lot. And therefore, after that, in my working life, I haven't had the opportunity of interacting with him too much on a professional sense.
Sure.
I mean, we were a joint family, so we were together, but he didn't have a role in that way.
Okay, so you did not have that father-son conversation with him.
I used to come and tell him advertising stories of Clarion, which he used to enjoy.
Okay.
I mean, because he had known all these great guys, and they were all friends and contemporaries. Subrata Sen Gupta, Tara Sinha, Subhash Sen, Subhash Ghoshal. I mean, they were my father's contemporaries, few years this way or that. So they knew each other personally.
Sure. Tell me something, when you spoke to your father and he must have shared those, those anecdotes with you as well from his advertising days. So, was there a conversation where you actually felt that you're aligned with him mentally, and are there any words that you still cherish that you out of those conversations?
You see, he told me one thing very clearly. It's not an easy profession to get in, but try hard and just go for it. Keep walking. And that's my philosophy even today. Keep walking. Because I think there is no end to keeping to walk in your career, in your life. So you keep walking. I mean, that's also used as my, if there was a payoff line of Tapas Gupta, it would say, keep walking. I still walk.
Okay.
So he did tell me
So
those.
that's also a tagline for Johnny Walker.
Yes. Black Label.
Yeah.
So it's not inspired by Johnny Walker, but it's
Yeah, okay.
inspired. I think
Thank you for confirming
when my
that.
father had said that, probably Johnny Walker as a whiskey didn't have that tagline. He said, "Chalte raho, keep walking." He said in Bengali, because there will be no. If you ever think that you've reached the end, that's the end of you. So keep walking. It's an infinite road.
Sure. So those 10 years at Clarion, and then you
Yes,
all
10 years
set
of
for your
Clarion.
life ahead. Did you get what you wanted out of that company?
Yes, Clarion gave me the base of first 10 years in school in advertising. Clarion, because of Subrata Sengupta, who was also a professor, Dr. Subrata Sengupta, professor at IIM Ahmedabad, the leading advertising and marketing professional. He was very analytical. I think I've learned the analytical part of communications from his understanding his mind. He was very analytical. He was very process driven. And he said that don't shortcut. Don't create any shortcuts lead to short circuits.
Sure.
He used to tell me that.
Okay.
I remember these words. Shortcuts lead to short circuits. Don't ever go for it. Work hard. You will achieve it.
Did he inspire you?
Oh, yes, very much. And he worked with me very closely after the Clarion breakup of Union and all these things, He worked, in fact, he was like an account director to me on ITC. He was an account director to me on Nestle. Not that he was an account director. He was by then the managing director. But my relation, I was then probably an account director or a step above. But we worked that way.
So if you have to take 3 names out of that period who actually set the benchmarking for you in advertising and inspired you, who will those be?
3 I can't immediately, but 2 of them are Subrata Sengupta and Tara Sinha.
Okay.
They really shaped my life. Whatever little I am today is because of these 2 persons' contribution to me and my eagerness to learn from them.
So let's talk about 1985 to 1990. This is the time when you were based out of Calcutta. You actually were at Clarion, and that is the time you left your cushy job to join Tara Sinha for her venture. How was that moment for you? Because you actually took up a job at a company where it was kind of a dream job for you, because getting a job at Clarion at that point in time was really difficult. How did you take that plunge?
Clarion as an agency was a very peculiar agency. After McCann Erickson stopped the collaboration in the late 70s, Clarion became a cooperative company.
Okay.
In the sense that majority of the shares were with the staff of the agency. Therefore, what was happening was that there were continuous demands from the staff, and the management was being stymied, in the sense people who were running Clarion. And that's the reason why people like Tara Sinha left, because they couldn't take this anymore. It became a trade union agency. It was India's second largest agency, and trade unionism, the bug of trade unionism, which had started capturing Calcutta or Bengal as a state because of the communist government that took over,
Okay.
started its its dirty fangs into Clarion. The union started dominating.
There was labor unrest in
There
the
was
city.
complete labor unrest. I was at that time, I had been promoted as the branch manager. And trust me, my job was not of a branch manager of advertising agency, but the branch manager of, of a company that I had to deal 90% of my time being the go between the board of directors and the staff, which meant I acted as a labor welfare officer.
Yeah, mediator.
I was a go between them, and I didn't enjoy my job. I mean,
It didn't impact you.
That was a big shock to my life, because it wasn't anticipated. Because I was thrown into the job of a branch manager, and the branch manager had to deal with the people who were creating problems. And the board used to ask me to go and give them this offer. They would give a counter offer, and offers such as small things like aaj canteen ka khana theek nahi hua. There was a cooperative canteen.
Sure.
And they used to sit on a dharna. I started feeling terrible.
What was your conversation up front
With whom?
with your boss? Like, this is what I
No, I had
signed up
been
for.
telling my boss for quite some time, but I also had, that's the time when Tara Sinha also left, because she was my boss. Then she left. She started her agency with McCann Erickson called TSA. It became Tara Sinha
Right.
McCann Erickson in 1985. Then, one day she called me up. She was obviously getting the information that I was being in a very difficult position.
So actually, before that, I want to ask you, when Clarion was collapsing, what was on your mind?
Run away as fast as possible. Run away as fast as possible. Because this is an agency that I have seen the best days, and the worst days had come. And when an agency has labor problems, the first people to move out are also the clients. So we were losing businesses. Okay?
Yeah.
So I got a call on a Sunday afternoon from Tara Sinha in 1986 saying, Tapas, would you want to become an entrepreneur and start Tara Sinha in Calcutta? I said, sure, but what does that mean?
Yeah.
I mean, somebody has to finance me. I didn't have enough money. She said, first 3 months, finances I'll do from Delhi.
Okay.
But starting from getting the people, getting the business, and even getting the office space. It's a complete greenfield operation.
But did you at any point feel that it is the end of your career because you're leaving a company as big as Clarion and actually joining a startup?
No, I felt that it was good riddance for me.
Okay.
It was good riddance for me because Clarion by that time had dived to its all-time low.
I see.
Okay? And people were leaving left, right, and center. Therefore, I didn't have a choice. I told Tara Sinha, Mrs. Sinha, I am game on this.
Okay.
But you have to finance me and my team for 3 months.
You took risk.
I took the risk. So starting from finding an office location and talking to I started with 20 people in Tara Sinha associates, because 3 big businesses shifted with me. And Tara Sinha, of course, being the person who was the main anchor.
You poached the clients.
Clients poached us, let's put it that way.
How?
Because they said, Tapas, you're starting with Tara. And the businesses that we got was Reckitt and Coleman and Days Medical, which is the brand Kyokarpin, and Taj Bengal, which was being launched.
What did you tell them? Why should they come with you?
Because I was taking their people. The senior management of the agency who were working with me as account directors, creative directors, they all said, Tapas, we are with you. We are with you. So I took away about 15 to 20 people, I remember, from day one. And a captive business, I don't remember the quantum, but a Reckitt and Coleman and a Days Medical and Taj would have accounted for a substantial. I didn't make a loss for a single month. Tara Sinha didn't have to finance me.
Sure.
You
were an asset for her.
The whole Tara Sinha Calcutta was an asset.
Okay.
I mean, 15, 20 people starting together, the salary bill wasn't very cheap. But clients joined you.
Did she tell you at some point in time that you were a good bet?
She always used to tell me that that's the best thing I did
Okay.
in Tara Sinha.
Okay.
To take you in and start this.
Do you miss her? She's no more.
Yeah, I have worked with her for many years. So, she's somebody I have always looked up to. She died, I think, about 3 years back. I had
Yes.
attended her
2019.
2019, 5 years back. I attended her funeral. Yes, she's had a big impact in my
I can
life.
see you getting emotional while
No,
talking about it
I
because
mean,
you have that kind of connect with her.
yeah, I mean, it was a kind of connect. I mean, she used to tell me that you're my GOC in the Eastern region, General Officer Commanding. I mean, then 91, again, one Sunday afternoon, and that was a favorite time to call. She called me up. Usually people have naps. So she called me up and said, can you join Delhi from tomorrow? I said, hello, what are you saying? Because she was facing some crisis. Because by then, Reckitt and Coleman, all of them had shifted to Delhi
Yeah.
because of the unrest in Calcutta. So these businesses shifted. She wanted somebody in Delhi to run
Yes,
the
so
business.
the Delhi chapter we'll come to a little later.
No, I'm telling you
but-
the beginning of this.
Okay, sure. So how did you make up your mind to join a startup? Because it wouldn't have been easy in that point in time. Like right now, it's like sort of hustle. There's culture, there's ecosystem, there's everything. But at that point in time, to take a decision like that, it must be something. How did you convince your family? How did you convince yourself?
Tara Sinha did a lot to convince my mother and my wife. She played a role. She used.
Oh, you were married by then.
Yes, I was married.
Was it a love marriage?
The first marriage I have two marriages. The first marriage wasn't love marriage.
Okay.
First marriage was an arranged marriage because my father wanted daughter-in-law before
Sure.
he died because he didn't have too many years to go. So I got married very early. I got married at 1976 or 77. First
Sure.
marriage.
Okay.
So she actually convinced both of them
Okay.
because she, whenever she was in Calcutta, she used to come. She loved hilsa fish, which my mother used to cook or supervise the cooking. She used to come home for dinner
Okay.
because she was 30 years older than me, but we became good friends.
You were happy about the fact that she convinced your family about you joining her?
Yes, because, at the end of the day, you're right. I was the only earning member of the family. My first wife is not working. So I had to take that decision. It was a major watershed decision in my life, but I don't regret it. I have always been a risk taker. Because without risks, I believe that you can't go anywhere. You can't always live a safe and happy this thing. It will not take you. I would have otherwise, maybe today, if I had not been a risk taker, I would have retired, lived a reasonably decent life, either in Calcutta or in Delhi, had,
Sure.
play around with my grandchildren. So, but that is still
So
something.
you're happy about the fact that you took risk and paid
I'm
off for
very
it.
happy about all the risks I've taken.
Okay. Were you given credit by Tara Sinha for getting all those clients?
Oh, absolutely. No. She was she wasn't miserly about the credits. She
Okay.
was actually those sense, she was a very broad-minded person.
Because these days everybody is like fighting for the credit.
No. She was, listen, Tara Sinha and I didn't come anywhere close. It was not one of her competitors or somewhere close to her in her career or life stage. I was, or maybe her son's age. So, she gave me all the credit. In fact, she's always used to say that Tara Sinha or Tara Sinha Mechanics in Kolkata is the best thing that happened to me in my early this thing, because it was a game changer in Tara Sinha. She also, when she sold McCann Erickson to McCann Erickson in 1995, Calcutta was still giving them good business.
Okay.
So obviously the valuations and other things, though it was not, I was overseeing it from Delhi, but it was still giving them good business.
Were you able to imbibe some qualities of Tara Sinha as a boss and have those applied to your colleagues when you interact with them? Do you think some of that has got transferred to you or you've imbibed from her?
Couple of things. I'm very impatient, which I learned from her.
Okay.
I am a bit short-tempered when it comes to work, which I've learned from her. So these are the two things I have learned from her, which I don't see as being positives.
Okay.
I mean, today in my job, when I don't shout like her, But when I get very angry, my son, who's now the joint managing director of the company, he tries to calm me. He said, chill. You don't have to do this.
Okay.
You don't have to. There are other people to do
But
this.
you are aware of the fact that you do those things.
I am aware
which
of.
is good, I think.
I am aware of the fact. I am still very impatient. I'm still very good with numbers.
Okay.
So whenever somebody, when their targets are not captured or certain things are not done, certain monies are not collected, I catch them by their whatever. And so that's the time when I lose my shirt. And that's the
Okay.
time when I'm told to cool down. These guys all know.
Yeah,
Subhash
so
and all.
we have Tapas sir's colleague as well sitting right here with us. Viewers can't see though, but we'll have that conversation off the record with
Yeah,
him.
sure.
Tara Sinha wanted you to be in Delhi to handle her main clients.
Overnight.
Overnight.
That's the impatience I'm talking about. She literally told me, can you join tomorrow?
And
I
did
said,
you?
are you joking? No. I joined a week later. Because if she told me I'm giving you 7 days time, I would have joined a month later.
And if she would have given you more money?
She was giving me more money anyways in Delhi.
Okay.
She was giving me a house, she was giving me a car. House in Calcutta, I had my own. Car she gave me in Calcutta. There she was giving me a higher salary, a car, and a house, and all the comforts of life.
So
A
1991.
four bedroom apartment in Greater Kailash 2 was what she gave me. From the day I landed up there, in those days, a rent of about 25,000 rupees, which was
Huge.
humongous rent.
Huge.
Today, it would be nearly a lakh.
A lakh. Yeah. More than that, in fact. So 1991, you came to Delhi and you never went back.
I never went back.
Why? They say that, you can take the boy out of Calcutta, but not Calcutta out of boy. Am I right?
No, nobody has been able to take the Calcutta out of me.
Okay.
But the boy has left forever. The reason being that Calcutta didn't excite me anymore. Calcutta was decaying. I feel sorry, I feel emotional when I say this. Was decaying, was going down to the dumps. And still is.
What
Still-
makes you say that?
Because businesses were moving out, people were getting lazy, there was no enterprise, there was no enthusiasm in the city, there were more politics than anything else. So I said goodbye. I still have my house, I have my sisters, I go every year, twice a year, but that for a holiday. I enjoy those 7-10 days when I go with my family for a holiday. But work, no.
Sure. And when you landed in Delhi, what was your first feeling about the city? Because you were new to the city, after all. What were
I
your
was
thoughts?
not new to the city because I was commuting almost every 10-15 days from the time I joined Tara Sinha Associates.
Okay.
So it was not new in that sense. But yes, when you shift with your family, it's a completely new culture.
Absolutely.
Because I was staying in a hotel. So hotel culture, and when you're staying in a house, so learning the language of Hindi, these were tough things to do. But what was the best part of it was that my children were very young. So they immediately, for them, they were very, adaptable in that sense. When you're
Sure.
young,
Yeah.
I mean, one of them was 7, the other one was 10. So, they were very adaptable and they learned, and one put them into school. And, for them, they don't, in that sense, recall Calcutta also today. They are Delhiites.
Sure. But was there any difference in the lifestyle? Did you feel that did you feel the need to go back and you thought you made a mistake coming to Delhi?
No, I also adjusted to the Delhi lifestyle, again out of compulsion, because I was I have always been very ambitious.
Yeah, sure.
So I knew Calcutta didn't give me a career anymore. So Delhi would give me a career, and Delhi would probably give me a career that would skyrocket. Because I came in at a time when I remember again Tara Sinha telling me that your job in Delhi will depend on you retaining Gillette, Nestle, and Reckitt and
Actually, I was
Coleman.
coming to that. So Gillette, Coca-Cola, Levi's.
No, not
Buffett-
Coca-Cola.
No, and of course, I'm talking about the global MNCs who entered.
By 95.
By
yes.
95.
But 91,
Yeah.
she was having specific problems on Reckitt and Coleman and on the Nestle.
What problems?
The clients were very unhappy. They were reporting back to McCann's.
Sure.
That they're not getting the kind of, you see, they had come because of McCann alignment with Tara Sinha McCann
Right.
Erickson, but they have no compulsion to stay. They can always tell their parent company, whether it's a Nestle at Veve or whether it's a Reckitt and Coleman in London, they can always say that this agency is not good enough for me. So Tara Sinha was, to Tara Sinha, I was the last bet.
Sure. Were they missing the global agency culture?
They were missing many things because Tara Sinha's agency was formed in a hurry in Delhi
Okay.
and didn't have the best of people, because at the end of the day, it was one person who was running it.
Sure.
Then she had her own idiosyncrasies in the sense of her own, way of working, which many clients may or may not always
So
love.
how many people you had under you at that point in time?
In Delhi?
Yeah.
Well, it was a full house of over 75 people.
Oh, that's
I
huge.
was put here almost parachuted
Yeah.
into Delhi and say, hey, run this as a senior VP. And I was also overseeing Calcutta. I was overseeing Calcutta largely and doing Delhi. My family landed up. My mother landed up because I am the only child of my parents. So I had
Oh.
to bring her.
Okay.
My wife came, the two children came.
Sure.
And, we just had to adjust.
So at that point in time, I'm coming back to Gillette, Coca-Cola, Levi's, Perfetti, Durex, and many world leaders enter India during 1990s. And quite a few of those became your clients, like we were just
Yes,
discussing.
because of the McCann Erickson global system.
What was working with them like?
You see, all these big businesses have club agencies across different parts of the world. Okay?
Right.
So they were having McCann Erickson as the club agency for them in India. So their first option had to be McCann Erickson in India.
Sure.
Okay? And if they didn't like, they had the option to shift. So all these came to us. They all landed with Tara Sinha McCann Erickson. But landing of the business is just the beginning. You have to run those
Retain-
businesses.
Yeah, correct.
And it was not easy. Oh my God.
How did it shape your personality?
Oh, it made me work like a, what shall I say, run like a horse and work like a donkey. 12, 14, 15
Did you
hours.
enjoy it?
Well, when you work that hard, you feel fatigued, even if you are at an age of 35, 36 when I
True.
shifted. So that fatigue had started setting in because I was spending 15 hours in office. And my home and office were only a 5-minute walk. So anybody, the home was like, if there was a problem at 10 o'clock at night and the office was working, people used to come to my house.
So they actually, when they say that advertising has long hours, it does not actually have any specific hours. They are right, and it's
You see,
actually since the beginning of time.
First 6 months, settling these businesses took a lot of effort, humongous amount of effort. And the people that were working with me, they suddenly see when you parachute a boss in, it's not easy because they were all aspiring to become the boss.
The head, yeah.
So it became difficult. But then I knew that this was my first and last chance.
Okay.
If I went back to Calcutta or if I looked for a job in Delhi also, I would have had to step down. I was, after Tara Sinha, the second person in command in the Tara Sinha McCann Erickson system.
This was also the phase when advertising was transforming during economic liberalization. Can you share more on how the advertising scene was changing? Because there were international agency networks like Havas, Publicis, Dentsu, Saatchi and Saatchi, W&K, BBDO, TBWA. They had entered India, and large agency groups like McCann Erickson, Lintas, Leo Burnett, JWT, YNR, FCB, and they soon became 100% global group-owned agencies in India. How was the advertising scene changing, and how were you finding yourself in amidst that change?
The competition became very severe from the time the liberalization happened. The agencies you named were also, some of them were also club agencies of the same client. Like when Coca-Cola talks about a club agency, they don't necessarily mean that it's only McCann Erickson across the world. In some places, they may have a McCann Erickson. Some places, they may have a Lintas. Therefore, when these people came in, the options for the Nestle's and the Reckitt and Coleman's and the Perfettis opened up. So if we didn't match up to those agencies, we would have been devastated. We would have been destroyed.
Did you lose any client?
You see, in our business, losing client is as frequent as gaining clients. So, there were some losses I don't remember. For instance, we lost a couple of, not that we lost the entire client. For instance, we used to handle the entire business of Nestle. Then after launching Maggie, a part of the Maggie went to one of the other club agencies.
Okay.
Similarly, when Gillette came to us, for first two years they worked with us fully with the total brands, sub-brands like 7 O'Clock, Gillette, Presto. Then 7 O'Clock went off to Lintas. So yes, there were some business brands that were going away, but there were some gaining also. Levi's came straight to us. Durex came straight to us.
Sure.
So these were the businesses. So when you do the balance sheet of these, they even out.
So 1996, you became the president and CEO of McCann's first joint venture in India, PSL Universal McCann with M&M. How was that role for you?
You see, 1995, Tara Sinha sold and it became McCann Erickson.
Correct.
Worldwide. McCann Erickson, I was the senior most person in India. Saurabh Mistry was sent from McCann Erickson. He was a very senior guy in McCann Erickson, Toronto. So he was sent in. He was slightly older than me. Saurabh came in to head the India operations. McCann Erickson were also looking for a second agency. So they were talking to Mahindra and Mahindra M&M Group for a collaboration. What they probably found in me was that by that time I had become known as the startup person.
Yeah, I was.
By that time I was, because they knew I had started up Tara Sinha Associates.
Right.
They knew that, this guy had started up recast the Delhi office, brought it back to its profitable ways. So he's a turnaround come startup come turnaround person.
You like that tag on
I
you?
like that tag. I have no problem. I want to be a
Startup specialist.
Startup special. I don't have the age anymore for a startup specialization anymore.
You've
but
already been there, done that. You don't
I have
need
done.
it.
It's so they thought that maybe PSL McCann was again like almost starting from a scratch. The only given account was Mahindra and Mahindra's 2-3 cars like Voyager and Armada in those days. So nothing else was. So I had to search across the country for new businesses. And we brought PSL McCann in 2-3 years to a reasonably good, decent size.
Sure. What did you learn and unlearn during this time?
During the
time when you were in Delhi and handling these clients and losing some, gaining some. During this time, what did you unlearn and what did you learn?
Advertising is a business. You have to hold enormous amount of patience. And things that work besides relationship are great strategic and creative work for the client. At the end of the day, it's the work that speaks.
That will speak for yourself.
That will speak for itself. So I learned that, this is something that I've always believed, and every experience, even today, gives me that feeling. While you're maintaining your relationships and network, all these things are important. But nothing speaks more than the work. And the work that results in the client's business growing. We are in a business where we help clients' business grow, or brand's business grow.
That's true.
If the brand's business doesn't grow and we do some spectacular advertising which win awards, client is not interested. He is interested in taking his sales from point X to point Y.
Sure. That will actually become another episode on awards and work.
Yes.
But then I think you've put it the right way. It's the work that speaks for itself, and then at the end of the day, you have to perform to be
Absolutely
able to be retained by the client. So by this time, you were popular, like you were just sharing about the startup specialist tag. Can you share more on that? How was that feeling, and how were you sort of, taking it up on your stride and becoming that, because this was a phase probably in your life and you actually were given this affirmation that you are somebody who can actually start up on your own, because that will pave way for your entrepreneurship journey. So tell us something about that transition.
Yes. You see, here I think I have to bring in my wife, present
Okay.
wife, Chubby, who I got married about 30 years back.
Okay.
She was a very senior media person in uh, Tara Sinha
I
Erickson.
wasn't expecting this answer at all. Okay.
No, I
Please go
mean,
on. Yeah.
so no, but this is a known fact in the industry.
Okay.
So, we got finally married in 1996. And she was one of the persons who's been nagging, inspiring, fighting. You can understand what happens.
Sure. Yeah.
That you've started this up, you started PSL McCann up, you seem to be very happy. But what have you done? What are you going to do for your children?
Sure.
What are you going to do for the posterity? So she was behind. She had been after 2 years of success of PSL McCann, she joined me in PSL McCann also. From McCann's, she gave up her cushy job in McCann as the media operations head. She joined me in PSL McCann. And then after 2 years in PSL McCann, this used to be daily injected into my head: do something on your own. Because after a certain age, you will not have the ability to do it. And she used to tell me something very interesting, that you've now spent 20 years in advertising, you will probably have another 20 years. The mid time is the best time to start something, because in your new agency or whatever you do fresh, it will also take time to develop. And she was so right.
And you did it.
And I did it.
So this is very interesting. Your wife actually pushed you in entrepreneurship and you agreed. You happily agreed to her. What was that idea? I really would like to know, like, a husband, a husband agreeing to wife's idea of entrepreneurship as early as in like 90s.
Yeah, it was mid 90s.
This is amazing.
Well, my wife has always been a professional.
Okay.
And maybe she was able to understand me better than many people. And she knew my track record of giving birth to two startups. One was Tara Sinha Associates and Tara Sinha McCann Erickson, and the second one was PSL McCann. Both were successful. Then she started telling me, you've been doing it for others. What about you? What will you leave for your children, for your
It's
grandchildren?
actually very unconventional, because usually wives in 90s would be like, you don't have a government job. You're not stable. The money is not coming on the first of every month. What is happening? And here you have a wife who's actually pushing you for entrepreneurship. That is the reason why I asked you that this is amazing.
Yes. And the most important thing is, pushing me for entrepreneurship didn't end there. We had a client in PSL McCann called STG International, who was a very large business. In those days, computer education was very much in vogue. Everybody used to start computer education. NIIT was number one. Aptech was number two. STG was number three. And a close number three to Aptech. And the marketing director of that company was a lady called Alka Kaul, who was Chubby's very close friend and colleague. So she went and discussed this with Alka that, I'm pushing Taposh for this. He's not interested. Alka said, hang on. My boss, who sits in the US, who's the owner of STG, sits in the US. He runs a software company in the US, Yogesh Vaidya. He was asking me some time back that I would like to make some investments in India. So, the two fell in place. Then Alka and Chubby fixed a meeting between Yogesh and me at Hyatt. I remember that was the first time I was meeting. He was our client in PSL McCann, but I had never seen that gentleman. I was dealing with the local office here.
Okay.
It was a large client in those days. NIIT, Aptech, STG were all neck to neck.
Yeah, that's true.
And so I met this gentleman, and he said, he met me for 2 hours, and then we discussed our business. He said, I would like to come on a 50-50 basis. I would do the total financing. Again, financing, I had been a professional. Now, I didn't have lakhs and lakhs of rupees in those days to invest in a new business because it needed
Right.
finance.
Yeah. Were you scared?
I was not scared, but I had hesitations, to be very honest. But I was pushed by Chobi to a very large extent.
Okay. She brought courage to you.
She brought courage to me and she said, in a worst case scenario, I can get a job anywhere in Delhi as a media head of any agency. So if there's a problem, you can also get a job. So what's your problem? So we started, this idea germinated, and it started very fast. 1998, 97 we were discussing, 98 we started the agency.
Yeah. So Confluence Communication.
Confluence Communication started in 1998. Again, what we did was PSL McCann that time was also not breaking up. It's a McCann agency, but the Delhi office was finding itself directionless without me. The Bombay was running because it was under the cover of Mahindra. Mahindras were there. But the Delhi office with a number, and STG was the first business that shifted to us because STG's owner became my partner.
So businesses came in from McCann. Will it be right to say that you actually poached McCann's businesses for your startup to flourish?
Well, in our business, poaching business is something that is nothing wrong in it because it's
the other way to put it is that the client was happy with you and he chose you over the brand.
That's the positive way of saying it. Poaching is a word I don't like myself, but that's okay. I did poach on, you see, GTC, which was in those days a large business, Golden Tobacco, cigarettes, Chancellor, Panama, you would have heard these cigarette names. STG, there were a couple of other businesses, TCL, they all decided to go with me. Again, it was the story 15 years before, 15 years or 10 years before, Tara Sinha Associates. So they chose me and the team. Quite a few people from PSL McCann in Delhi joined me there.
Do you take pride in it?
I take pride in building agencies. I love that. So they started, and then, with Chubby, me and Yogesh Vaidya as directors, the company started rolling. The big break in this company came. You see, in those days, there weren't too many businesses that. So in those days, we used to have SMSs. I had actually got Chubby had actually got from a journalist friend the number of Subrato Roy.
Yeah, so
Sahara.
Air Sahara happened to you over an SMS.
Just here are this story. This is a very interesting story. So I sent him in those days SMSs. Those were the regular phones, SMSs. And somebody from Sahara within 3 days called me up, said, why don't you come to Lucknow? A boss wants to meet you, but he can meet you only for half an hour. I was surprised, but not expecting anything. I thought that he was being nice enough since I had sent him a text. Yeah, I've started a business.
You didn't believe it.
I didn't believe it, and it was a cold call. It was a cold SMS.
Right.
He didn't, neither he knew me nor I had heard about him. And then he met me for half an hour.
How was that meeting like?
It was a very intense meeting.
Okay.
This gentleman, he was a larger than life personality. There can be lots of criticism about him, the way he functioned.
Sure.
But he's been one of my pillars in this business. Because if he hadn't given me this Air Sahara and the Sahara Group business in those days, probably BI Confluence wouldn't have survived another maybe 5-7 years. It was Sahara that helped build the foundation, a solid foundation to us.
Sahara gave you Sahara.
Sahara gave us Sahara, and far beyond Sahara. He gave me everything that I was asking for, in the sense. He looked at me he engaged me in discussion which was not on advertising. He asked me, what do you want to do in life? What is your background? Why have you texted me? What do you want to do? How do you want to do it? You seem to have great ideas, young man, but do you have the money to do it? I said, no, I don't have that kind of.
Do you think that he was disoriented and he did not have a plan of his own? That is the reason why he was asking you so many things which were trying to,
No, he was inquisitive.
Okay.
He was inquisitive. A Sahara boss, owner, getting a cold SMS. In those days, long SMSs were the fashion. It's like a letter. So he was inquisitive. He was curious to know who's this character. Then he stared at me for 5 minutes. We were not talking. He was sitting like this. Looked at me, looked at my eyes, started sizing me up.
Were you intimidated?
I was very intimidated. I thought, oh God, let this meeting over. Thanks. I've spent airfare to Sahara by air. So let me go back.
You weren't expecting
I
to
wasn't
crack it.
expecting. I wasn't expecting.
What was that moment when you cracked it and you knew that it's
He,
happening?
after half an hour, Samreen, his secretary, and he was very punctual on times.
Okay.
He gave me half an hour. Samreen, I remember the lady walking in, sir, aapka aur ek meeting hai. Haan. And he stood up. He suddenly pushed his hands like this.
Okay.
So I didn't know what to do. I shook his hand. I want to give you my whole business. Can you run it? I didn't know what to say. I said, yes, sir. I'll do my best. I'll give my life for you.
You actually said that?
I actually said that.
Did you mean it?
Yes, I meant it. Because if I stare at you and give you a lottery worth crores sitting here saying that,
I hear you.
I would be ever grateful. I would give my life and blood for him. And I felt, what? I felt humbled. This man, and then he said, somebody is going to get in touch with you.
So he changed your life?
He changed my life.
Do you owe it to him?
Huh?
Do you owe it to him?
I owe it to him very substantially. The company owes it to him.
Yeah.
And then, in a very way, we were fast. He was a towering personality, but he used to, and one day, I and Chubby met him at his Lucknow office. We used to go for meetings and all. Then Chubby just made a comment in Bengali, sir, you have so many parties and you have so many, Shah Rukh Khan comes and
Yeah.
you must call us for these parties. He said, Didi, from now on, every party I do here, said Didi,
Okay.
every party that I do here, you'll be our invited guest and you will come by Air Sahara free, go back by Air Sahara free.
Do you think that you backed the client because of the bong connection?
Possible to some extent, but he was a sharp businessman. He wouldn't only give it to a bong.
Okay.
He was a sharp businessman. The other thing was a very interesting thing. His mother's name was Chubby Roy.
Okay.
And my wife's name
name.
was Chubby Roy.
Sure. Okay.
So that built a connection.
Sure. Yeah.
He used to believe these things. He used to laugh later and say, Acha, I am calling you Didi, but you are actually, I should call you Ma. He used to joke.
Yeah.
And then Sahara changed our lives.
So how many years it went on with you?
11 years. The day Air Sahara closed in the sense got
shut
sold off
down.
to Jet,
Yeah.
he had,
When did you know it was over for you?
well, we have been hearing about it. Then I got a call from his CEO here, Mr. Bose, saying that, Tapas, we have sold it off. But Mr. Roy has left a message with the Jet owners to continue. Now, that's a message he's left, whether they didn't
happen?
continue.
No?
They didn't continue.
You weren't expecting it.
No, we weren't expecting it. Everybody is not Subrata Roy. So that's an interesting turn. You see, there are some game changers in everybody's life. This was a game changer in BI Confluence's life.
But there's one question that I want to ask you. Despite the bad name that Subrata Roy has got in the public domain, despite all that has happened, whether it was true or not true, I'm not going in that detail, but it did attract a lot of bad publicity and negativity, so to say. Do you still feel the same for him?
You see, I was seeing this Netflix series, Big Boy Billionaires,
Yeah.
in which he was there, Nirav Modi was there, Vijay Mallya was there. A lot of things which has been shown that he was larger than life in personality, and all these things are fine. Uh, you see, I cannot pass a value judgment because I don't know the case well enough. But obviously, but when somebody changes your life, when somebody makes a contribution to your life which is immense in nature, your respect can never go away. I actually cried the day he died. And he died a death of a commoner. I have been to his son's wedding. I've been to all his parties. His Sahara city
Yeah.
is a gorgeous place to be in. It's literally a city. He had his own, private helipads. He had his own stadiums, basketball, tennis, everything, and his bungalows. And we used to be called for, and there were parties every 3 months.
So do you think that what happened to him was not right?
You see, I cannot pass a value judgment on this. I am too insignificant to pass a value judgment. I have not gone through the case in great detail. What has been the
But
issue?
you will always feel the same for him,
I will always feel the same for him.
irrespective of the fact whether he was
Yes,
a criminal or not.
because he made huge contributions. He and his company made huge contributions to our life.
2011, Sahara was out of your ambit, so to say. How did your journey continue from there? And today, BEI Confluence is 27 years old. This is the 27th year running. Do you get jitters sometime thinking, yes, I made it happen? Like, do you talk to your pillow at night sometimes and, make yourself feel that it's real?
Well, while Sahara was going on in full-fledged business with us, the team and me were endeavoring to get other businesses. Unknowingly that, Sahara can close. We thought Sahara was going to last forever, but good dreams don't always continue. So we started getting, and we also had a lot of founder clients. I mean, you would have heard of the name Cracks.
Yes.
Cracks is children's snacks.
We used to eat them like
Yes,
put in our fingers
yes.
and eat. We all know this.
Cracks has a long history of working with BI Confluence.
Oh,
We started with them in 2000,
Okay.
around the same time. It shifted from Ogilvy. It shifted from, in those days, Ogilvy.
did you pitch for it?
We didn't pitch for it. It was a person who was working in Ogilvy had joined us at a senior level.
Okay.
So he had brought the business with
Okay.
him. And that business continued with us till 2019 when they were sold off to a foreign company, the brand. The owners became family friends to us. And, the sons of the owner who I have still interact with, they continue in another business, but they are great friends of my son. So, it's a second generation. I mean, my son is actually the third generation if I consider myself
Yeah.
as second generation.
Yes.
I mean, that generation of business is continuing. So we have another business, which is Insecticides India Limited, which started very small with us early, and they are continuing with us. So our longevity of business, which means the length of time working with us, has been far higher than the industry. In this industry, advertising industry, clients don't last too long.
Why do you think that's one of the reasons for your success as well?
Well, I think that's a great reason for our success because our length of time we handle brands. Because what happens is that over a time you also develop an expertise on the market, on the
Sure.
brand, on the consumer. And if you continuously reinvent yourself, which we do in BEI all the time, every year, every 6 months, it's a process of reinventing us, re-engineering us with talent, with new technologies, with new understanding, with new people.
But I think you've always also been lucky because clients these days don't even stay for very long time. And do you think that you've been lucky?
Yeah, we have been lucky, but you see, there are clients also who come to us, stay for 2 years, 3 years and go. But we deal with some very large business families, like for instance, the groups, not families, groups, business groups like the JK Group. We are one of their main agencies. We handle JK Paper, we handle their dairy products. I think it's the continuous if we ever feel comfortable that this business is going to last with us, I think that's the last day that you would ever work with that business.
You also have a lot of clients from FMCG.
We are primarily a strong FMCG oriented agency because our
Correct.
expertise comes from there.
I want to understand whether your expertise came in by choice or you developed it as you went ahead with the clients coming to your kitty.
You see, when I started my whole career of 50 years, I have dealt 80% of with FMCG, whether it was ITC in cigarettes, then Nestle's, then Reckitt and Coleman, Gillette, Perfetti, which we launched. All these brands are actually Durex. Levi's is also an FMCG in that sense. All these brands. So I have been an FMCG person all my life. By coincidence, my son, Abhishek, who is now the joint managing director,
Right.
Abhishek was trained in UK in London School of Music. He did a couple of courses and he graduated from there. He came and joined Havas.
Okay.
From Havas, he shifted to Publicis. From there to Ogilvy.
Okay.
So his career of 12 years outside BI Confluence has also primarily been with FMCG brands. It's by coincidence.
But
not
why did you want him to work outside BEI?
because I wanted him to be trained fully. When he comes in, he shouldn't be a homegrown product.
So
He
you
should
were like
bring-
an old school father who
Yes.
wanted to
Yes.
have his child have
Absolutely.
exposure outside.
So he should be able to bring in expertise and learnings from other agencies. Abhishek in his career has handled Coca-Cola brands. Sprite is a very large brand he used to handle. In Publicis, he used to handle the Nestle portfolio. Then he handled a couple of biscuit brands. So he's handled also his lifespan of 18 years is also primarily devoted to FMCG. So by destiny, this has become our specialization. And so clients in Delhi, in Bombay, out all over the country know us as a strong FMCG agency.
But did he tell you that he always wanted to be in advertising?
Well, I had trained him up for that.
Okay.
My daughter is also in advertising.
Yeah, Rumpa.
Rumpa, she is also in advertising because she spent 8 years in the social marketing sector in Singapore.
Okay.
After she got married, she spent 8 years there. Then after they got transferred, I brought in Rumpa because she had a lot of experience of dealing with diverse cultures, diverse people, and diverse knowledges it's a lot of wealth for the advertising. So, she brings in a different perspective. So her kind of brands she handles, for instance, Insecticides India Limited, IIL, is a rural brand.
Sure.
She handles products like Jindal Steel, she's not our FMCG person. She handles JK Paper, which is
Okay.
not really an FMCG, that it's more corporate.
When did Abhishek join you and when did Rumpa join you?
I think Abhishek joined in 2016
Okay.
and Rumpa joined in 2019 or 20.
Okay. Sure. So, there is this word which is very famous these days, nepotism, which is actually there in Bollywood. But do you think that applies to advertising as well? And do you think that word in itself means something, or does it hold any meaning for you?
Nepotism, dynasty, you can call it by any name. The issue is that if your children are competent enough, they bring value to the table, then it is, I believe, this should be taken forward.
Makes sense.
Because if they didn't bring value to the table, I would have probably, and my children were not even interested in the business, I would have probably sold off. I have incidentally got through my life, I think, hundreds of offers of selling off.
Oh, yes, that's another point to discuss. Why did you never sell it off? Because I remember having this conversation with you last year where you did tell me that you have been made offers and you actually never accepted those. What made you continue and what made you believe in yourself? And at that point in time, your children were not even there with you in advertising. So you were all by yourself. How did you keep going?
You see, there's an interesting coincidence. When my children joined in, by that time my wife decided to take a break to make it not look like a total family concern.
Okay.
So Chubby took a break around 2018 or so. Maybe she would have overlapped with Abhishek for about a year. But before Rumpa joined, because by then, she started looking after the grandson because Abhishek's wife also works. She's also a very strong, big marketing professional. She's working in market as a head of CMO of a company. So, therefore she took off. Why I did not sell, in the initial part, it was more of emotional connect with the agency.
Okay.
In the latter part, it became that, this is probably something that I can gift my children.
So you want to leave behind your legacy.
And I wanted to leave behind. I still want to build a legacy further and leave behind. Legacies are built every day. Every fresh day is a new legacy you build.
Yeah, sure.
So
And IPO is next for you.
IPO, we are going slightly slow because of the market disruptions that are happening.
Right.
We were planning to do it for 2025, but maybe we may have to defer it because this will now be dictated by the marketplace. Everybody is advising us to take it a little slow at a time. But regardless of the IPO, our investments in technology, our investments in, we are now, digital is the new buzzword. Mainline. Digital is the main line now. Therefore, digital communication has taken a huge proportion and a dimension in our business. And we are now providing complete digital services. We've recently hired a very senior digital person who is overseeing. The digital has now become a 360 360 service. I mean, whether it is SEOs, SEMs, performance marketing, and advertising is now becoming quantified. This is a very important thing.
Okay.
There was a time when we spent lakhs and lakhs and crores on advertising without knowing what is working and what is not working. Today, with performance marketing, you are able to actually pinpoint to what works and what does not work. Today, when you do your, e-commerce communication, a listing of D2C products, you can make out by this what sale, where have you been able to bring the brand from number 5 to number 1 in the hierarchy.
Sure.
Where if you have been able to achieve the 20% market share you had set your objectives on, whether you've been able to sell X number of products against a certain investment you made in communication, which means advertising has become a ROI driven profession.
But does that pressurize creativity? Is that killing creativity?
Creativity is now taking new forms. You see, creativity is also a very loose word. I mean, creativity does not, there will be no end of good ideas. But good ideas in creativity and advertising have to lend themselves into different dimensions. For instance, professional content writing for e-commerce platforms is very different from doing something, a TVC, or doing digital films, which are linked to the brand's events. They are very different kinds of creativity.
So I can further delve on it by saying that, do you think that human creativity is getting affected by the advanced technology that we are receiving these days and changing on daily basis?
You see, people in creative profession who are able to embrace technology are the ones whose creative brain plus the technology should come as a help. Technology can never replace creativity. Technology must, which means 1 plus 1 should be 11. Creativity, your own understanding of creativity and your own expression of creativity comes with some AI tools, some technology. They should explode. Today, a lot of creative directors are today using AIs, not only in our agency, all over. They're using AIs to generate even things like press layouts, ad layouts, short TV commercials are being developed on AIs now. So all these things, that's the future in advertising. But what is happening is that for every rupee we spend, the accountability on us agencies are going up by the day.
So I'm talking about that exact accountability where it's also trickling on to the creative guys. Do you think it's fair?
Creative guys have to adapt themselves. They are adapting themselves. At the end of the day, understand, this is not we are not developing a Mona Lisa, nor are we doing some great art sculptures. We are in the business of commerce. I always tell and that's where my analytical part of the brain helps me. If I got totally wrapped in creativity, my business would have never succeeded. I always call advertising a business. I'm a businessman at the end of the day. Huh?
Sure.
If I am a businessman, I have to run it like a businessman. Creativity is a tool. Creativity is a weapon for us. It's our product.
Okay.
Creativity is our product. Creativity is not an end by itself. That product helps us in developing ideas that help a client's brand take off, whether it's in the digital platform, whether it's in the conventional platform, whether it's in outdoor hoarding, or, I mean, every medium today is being innovated. Even outdoors have gone completely different from what used to be there.
So what's the future of advertising according to you?
The future of advertising will continue to be grow at a good pace. But people who will be able to adapt to the changing times, they will be the ones who are survive. I mean, with COVID, hundreds of traditional agencies have died down.
Yeah, so I was just about to come to that. Like, you don't think that the advertising business is dying out? You don't side by that narrative?
I don't side by that narrative at all. Advertising business, what is happening is that the competition is very severe, so margins are being reduced.
Okay.
Margins are getting squeezed. So it's a difficult, business proposition, but it's not going to die out.
Okay.
And people have to adapt to the newer and newer thing. Evolution of advertising is happening rapidly in the digital side of business. If you don't adapt yourself there, and if you are not there early enough, you lose that advantage of being an early mover.
Sure. So what are your parting thoughts for the youngsters who are now entering advertising, and who you want to give your words of wisdom, coming from a person who has spent 50 working years in advertising? What will be your message to all those who are now entering advertising and want to lead a future in it?
I think adaptability and being, changing with the times or being ahead of the times in terms of technology. You see, technology, creativity, none of these are going to die. But the moment you add them together, that is where magic can happen. Your magic will happen out of these two. None of them are going to die. So if a young writer or a young art person comes to me to ask me, how is my future going to be? I'm going to tell him, you're a great mind. Adapt yourself to technology, learn the technologies, use those technologies to create your masterpieces.
Sure. On that note, Tapas, this has been a great source of wisdom, your experiences, your anecdotes, everything that you are today. I think it takes a lot to be where you are today. And I kid you not, it's not because we are doing this interview and I have to sound good in the end, but I truly believe in this fact that, to go on for 50 years in advertising and have that kind of enthusiasm to talk about it, to narrate the young generation about what's in store for them. I think you really have it in you. And here's to next 50 years.
At least, everybody asks me if I have any retirement plans. I'm unable to answer them. I don't know what to do if I retire. Will I be bored? My children are very strongly entrenched in the agency. They're running it. but maybe I am the guiding spirit to them. Maybe I am the friend, philosopher, guide. That's the role I want to play as long as I can have the good health and mind to contribute to the business. I will be doing that.
So you don't see an and you are keeping your father's words intact and going in you, which is actually keep walking.
I believe in that philosophy of keep walking. There is no end. There is no destination which says the end.
So here's for your good health, for you to keep walking. Thank you so much, Tapas, for joining us for this podcast. And it's been enriching, like I said. And thanks once again.
Thank you so much for taking your time out to talk to me. I'm sure some of the anecdotes, some portions of what I have done in my life will probably be a source of inspiration for some people. And I still love advertising as much as I used to do 50 years back. And I will keep walking till I see the end.